It's more so gratitude. I just feel so grateful that people believe in what I believe in, which
Mm-hmm.
is doing things a little differently. We are Pilates, but make it spicy, make it hard, and make it strong. And we are led by community.
Mm-hmm.
And knowing that that's what I wanted to build and other people still see what I see, it's, I don't know, just a sense of gratitude every single day that even though it is hard as hell.
From the Sarah Smiles Network, I'm Sarah Smiles, and this is the Consider the Source podcast, a show about women who've built ideas, movements, and careers by questioning the status quo and challenging norms. I'm so happy to have you on. I would love for you to introduce yourself and tell me a little bit about how you got into Pilates and how you built your studio.
Yeah, sure, we'll get straight into it. So I have been teaching, so I'm in Colorado and I've been teaching fitness for just about 14 years. Actually started in the yoga space and taught at just a huge corporation and was teaching basic yoga and then went into yoga sculpt. I moved to Nashville and was still teaching yoga, but then also started teaching indoor cycling. That's when Pilates came into the mix. When I moved back, I started teaching reformer Pilates. Really stepped away from the yoga scene. It was just a little too quiet for me, if you will. So really stepped into the Pilates era. It was on reformer, teaching cycling, moved away from cycling. Long story short, I am an extremist at heart. When I do something, I am fully in it. Like, there is no holding me back. I'm going full in it. So really burnt myself out in not like a standard burnt out way when it comes to cycling, but I was just, my body was taxed. I was on a bike 16 hours a week and was like, I can't do this anymore. So was like, all right, I'm just going to lean into Pilates, and really was taking a step back and looking at my life and thought, what do I want to do? I'm 34. What do I want to do with my life? Where is my career and my trajectory? I was always teaching fitness, or not always, but had been teaching fitness for 14 years, and that was never a full-time thing. I always had something else. And my background is in marketing, and I was like, you know what? I really want to have my own thing. I've been in this for a while. I know a lot of people. I know how to sculpt and build a body in a way that's strong, in a way that's effective. So I'm going to bring all my things together and take a crazy leap of faith and open a space. And I did.
Yeah, amazing. And I know that it's had great success based on your wait list, that when you first opened, that it was already 3 weeks long and 3 weeks out. Like, there's been a huge movement towards, like, went from hot girl walks to hot girl Pilates. Like, everybody is doing Pilates right now. And it kind of reminds me of, like, the time when everyone was obsessed with Peloton. But there definitely are ebbs and flows to what people are into in terms of fitness, which is super weird because fitness isn't really a fad as much as you would like to think that like clothes are a fad. So how do you sort of navigate that lifestyle then?
Yeah. Yeah, great question. You know, it's interesting just seeing fitness trends over the years, over a decade. I agree with you. Fitness is not a trend. It's not a fad. I think, yes, Pilates has a giant uptick as far as popularity, but it's always been there. And I truly don't think that there's going to be, at least in no foreseeable future, it on the downslope. When it comes to trends, I mean, especially right now with social media, anything can be like hot off the press and then
Right.
just really kind of take off. I know that there's like a celebrity culture that really promotes it. Once you have one celebrity that's in something, it just kind of like rocket launches it. But with Pilates, I really do think that it's different. So I'm mat Pilates and we're heated. It's not reformer. And there is a giant swing towards reformer Pilates, which is great.
Yeah.
Mat Pilates is definitely still on the up and the coming. It's my favorite way to practice. But I really think that with Pilates in particular, it's not going to be this fad that just comes in and goes
Mm-hmm.
for so many reasons. One, it's great on your body. You aren't taxing it the way you are when you're doing like something super, super high intense where it's like running or cycling or like CrossFit or something like that. It's truly for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And you can make it your own. You can up level it, you can modify, do what you want. But then also it can follow you. You can take it, especially with mat Pilates, you can take it traveling, you can do whatever. So it doesn't have to be this thing that feels like so restrictive. And for me, with a trend, that is why I think they're trends. There's something that's like for a specific population, and then you do it and you burn out because it doesn't grow with you.
Mm.
With Pilates, it grows with you. You get better, you get stronger. It's not like you plateau, you continue to evolve and make the moves more effective. So, yeah, there is a huge swing towards Pilates and the popularity. And obviously, I love that. I'm all
Mm-hmm.
for that. I'm like, let's make it more popular.
Yeah.
But I really don't think, in this case in particular, that it's going to be this like giant swing and then we swing back. It's
Mm-hmm.
more, maybe, yes, it won't be as such of a swing and it'll kind of plateau, which everything does. But like I said, it's something that you can truly take with you for a lifetime.
Yeah. And you can probably definitely actually speak better to this than I can, but I have been weightlifting my whole life and it has been so difficult to get my girlfriends to want to show up to the gym. I love it. Frankly, I love Pilates as well, but I have no qualms with going to the gym and feeling like I'm going to get bulky. I feel like Pilates is really opening up the door for a lot of women to start building muscle and start building that definition without the fear of getting quote unquote bulky, even though that's a myth. You won't get bulky by lifting weights. But nonetheless, I feel like this is really the entryway into, hey, this is how you can maintain and build muscle.
Yeah, so many points there that like oh my gosh, I could talk for hours. So first, when it comes to being a female and walking into a gym, I totally understand the idea of not wanting to get bulky. To your point, it is damn near impossible to get so bulky. You have to be so dialed in with your nutrition, with your programming. You have to have a certain body type. Like it is I'm going to go ahead and say impossible if you're just going to the gym and lifting weights. Like it's not going to happen. But in that same vein, I totally, totally, totally understand women not wanting to go to the gym. You and I are probably an anomaly here. I feel very comfortable in that space.
Mm-hmm.
It is not a comfortable and welcoming space, unfortunately, because you go into this space where people are already looking amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And if you aren't there and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't feel great in my body, and then you go in this space, you're like, I don't feel comfortable. So I get it, which is why I love Pilates in a class that's more welcoming because you
Mm-hmm.
go to a space and you're like, okay, I at least am surrounded by other people. I'm not navigating this huge space. I have no idea what's happening. So you're guided through an actual class. But then, in the same vein, to your point with Pilates, there actually has been a lot of pushback saying that it doesn't build strength. But it's so interesting because yes, it does.
Yeah,
I would love
what?
to see how people. It's wild. I think because when executed improperly and without form, yes, you're not going to create muscle. But that's with
Right.
anything. Like if
Right.
you do it wrong, it's not going to yield result. But with Pilates, whether it's reformer or whether it's mat, you're using resistance.
Mm-hmm.
Any sort of resistance, and especially executed slow and precise, you are going to build strength. You are going to build muscle. And there's so much out there now that's just proving that, especially as women, the older we get, it is so important to have muscle. We need
Mm-hmm.
it. It is what's going to keep us youthful. It's going to keep our joints safe, our bones safe. So, kind of just like, I'm not a short storyteller, let's be honest. Long story long. Long,
I
long
love
story
that.
long.
Yep. As it should be.
Right? I'm just like, let me just keep rolling. So, I get where your girlfriends are coming from of like, I
Mm-hmm.
don't want to go to a gym. It's intimidating. You sometimes feel lost. It can be like, I don't know what the heck I'm doing. So having a modality and something where they actually can feel guided and safe and a part of something bigger than themselves, it's like, let's promote that. Let's
Yeah.
make everyone feel welcome and strong and like they have a place to go.
Yeah, and I love that. And I think that the class orientation is also super, super helpful because I feel like you see that even in the cardio realm. Like you see the rise of running groups and you see the rise of class pass and all of these different avenues where it's a community based activity rather than a solo activity. Because going to the gym is really isolating. Unless you have a gym buddy, and even then, like it's not like you're talking to your gym buddy the whole time. And like if you go swimming, you're not really talking to your gym buddy. And so it's like one of those things where you create community based on fitness and based on healthy habits, which is really important. And I feel like is a new wave of movement of what my generation and the following generations are looking for of, okay, we're not really into drinking that much, but we still want to make friends. We still want to go out and be active in our communities. And that's a space that provides it.
Yeah, 100%. And there's so much evidence that's showing, especially after being isolated for so long, people want that. People want community. They want to go to a space where they, one, know everyone, two, everyone knows them, but then they want to be part of something that's bigger than themselves, especially now when a lot of people are working from home, they're remote, they're isolated. The last thing that you want to do is stay isolated, work out at home, go somewhere and be by yourself. It's like, no, we're humans. We
Yeah.
are supposed to be with other people. So when we're so isolated, it's like doing us such a big disservice. And it goes hand in hand. It's not just the physical, it's the mental aspect too. You go to a class, yes, to feel physically better, but every single person that comes through my doors at my studio, and I can attest to this, every single time they leave, they're like, I feel better. My mental space feels better. Yes, because I just got my butt whooped, but also like I feel lighter. I feel a part of something. I feel bigger than just me. And I think at the end of the day, we as humans, that's what we're looking for, is something bigger than us.
Yeah, 100%. And I feel like it can also be intimidating at times to be like, I'm going to sign up for this class I've never done before. I've never done any physical, like, class activities. And I remember showing up to my first Pilates class. I was with my college boyfriend's mom, and we went to a random class. And I just remember looking around the room. There was a bunch of middle-aged women, and I was like rolling around on my back and needing to take breaks. And keep in mind, like I said, I have been weightlifting for pretty much the majority of my adult life. And I trained for one marathon at that point in time. And I literally had to take a break, and these women just kept going. I was like, how are y'all doing this? I cannot. It is empowering to see women that are able to do these physical feats. Like I thought I was in my physical prime. Nope, I still have all of that like muscle and strength to continue to build.
Yeah, totally. And how cool is it to go to a class where you can be 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, and you're still seeing these predominantly women come into this space and totally crush it. And you're like, oh my gosh, regardless of your age, you're like, I can continue to grow and to get better and to get stronger. Doesn't matter the age. It's actually funny that you say that because yesterday in one of my classes I saw these two girls were like lifting and we were doing something, and one girl, we use heavier weights in my studio, so typically you'll see a studio that has like 2 to maybe 8 pound weights. We go up to 15 pounds.
Wow.
So because I am all about building strength, building muscle, so we go up to 15 pounds. And one girl had a set of tens and her girlfriend was next to her, and I saw at the perfect time she like looked at her friend in the mirror, and the look on her face was like, oh my gosh, you are a badass. The fact that it was like the coolest thing ever. She was
Yeah.
in shock and so inspired by what her friend was doing that I literally on the mic called out over the mic and was like, that was the coolest thing ever. Because it's so cool to see other women not only impressed by other women, but inspired by.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. And I've said this on so many of my episodes prior, but I feel like we have this idea in our brains that have been fed to us by mostly men of like, women are catty, women aren't there to support each other. There'll never be an old girls network like there is an old boys network. And I find that to be less and less true the more and more women that I talk to and surround myself with. Like, that's just not the case.
Totally, 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 totally. I actually have at my studio it's like my number one rule. The second, whether it be within the community or the coaches, the second that there's even an inkling of cattiness or gossip, it's cut. We don't have it. There's like a zero tolerance policy. So my studio is called HAVN, and that's what I want it to be. I want it to be a haven. You come there, you feel better about yourself. It doesn't matter what you look like, where you come from, how long you've been there. Everyone is on the same playing field. Everyone is there to support each other. The second there's like anything sort of negative, we nip it in the bud. We're like, no, we're not having that. Because we are trying. I am so desperately trying to change the narrative around, one, how we do fitness, but two, how women work out. We are strong. We can do hard things. And then when we're supported by a community that's also doing hard things, we are just unstoppable.
100%. Yeah. And I love the idea of building a safe space specifically for women to get stronger, because I feel like so many women are, number one, scared of getting strong, and number two, fearful that they're not going to be accepted into a community. And so talk to me about what that was like in terms of setting the intention for the studio and figuring out, okay, I'm going to be doing this, this, and this, so that way everyone that walks in the door feels at ease.
Yeah. I am a firm believer in that you lead by example. So if I show up in this space in my studio in any sort of mood, if I had a bad day or, sorry, my like
No, you're good.
screen is weird. If I had any sort of bad day, I just have to put it aside. I know that whatever happened, it's my internal own personal thing to deal with, and that's okay. But I have to step into the space as the leader, as someone who's like always promoting and putting out a good vibe, good energy. And then also when I take class or when I'm coaching the class, I need to show, not just in my physical body, but in what I do, that like it's cool and okay to lift heavy and to go hard and to sweat and to be out of breath, because people, this just is the way it is. They follow from the top down. And if it's my studio and I founded it, people are going to follow that. And then once like the majority, everyone's like, all right, everyone does this. Everyone here is nice. Everyone is kind. Everyone smiles at you. They call you by their name. It's truly a top-down approach. And when I first opened, it was me and just two other coaches. And it was, so first off, do not recommend doing that, because I do not recommend. I was like so tired. My team was too lean. I really underestimated how busy I was going to be. I did. I was like, all right, it's a slow build. No, no, it was an explosion right off the bat.
Yeah,
And
a blessing and a
I
curse.
exactly, like I can't be sad or mad about it because it's like amazing. I just was so exhausted. But from the second we opened the doors, it was just like, all right, I have a mission and I have to be the example. So if it's a top-down approach, then, and I'm creating this like negative vibe or negative narrative, regardless of how I'm actually feeling, people are also going to do that. So every single day, even though I'm not going to lie, owning a business and starting a business is hands down the hardest thing I've ever done. It is insane, the roller coaster that you're on, not just like in general, but every single day. You have the highest highs, you have the lowest lows. And even though inside you're just screaming and wanting to cry, you have to, especially when you're in front of everyone, it's just Oscar winning nomination performances. And then eventually you just embody that and you're like, okay, I can handle this. It's okay. And then you build this amazing team, which my team is so awesome. And then they emulate what you do. And it's just, it's totally a ripple effect.
Yeah, definitely. And so when you first started, I can imagine like that is draining
Oh.
emotionally, physically, all of the things. And
hmm
how did you persevere through that? Because I mean, launching a business obviously is no small feat, and we'll get into that, but that also takes a lot because you are doing the workout. It's not like, hey, ladies, like pick up your weights and move them in this way. Like you are doing the workout. You're leading by example.
Right. So, so many things. So, one, I was exhausted for
Mm,
sure. Two, when we coach, so we aren't taking the entire class. We demo and then we're watching.
mm,
And there's so many reasons for that. It's one, it's safety because we have to, you can't just be on your mat the whole time and do the workout because then you can't see everyone in the room and cue and adjust.
yeah.
So we're doing, I would say, an eighth of the class.
Okay.
Still definitely doing it,
Yeah.
but not as much. And then so tacked on to that, yes, I was teaching. So I was teaching between like 16 and 20 classes a week. Again,
Whew.
do not recommend that. On top of everything else, because it's just me, I don't have a business partner, and I
Mm-hmm.
also didn't have sales or marketing. So I was doing sales, marketing, payroll, HR, everything you think you can name it, I was doing all of it.
Mm-hmm.
I was exhausted, and all I have to say is the only thing that got me through, I don't know how this is going to sound, but two things. One, I felt very responsible for the lives of my coaches, and innately, deep within my bones, I was like, I don't know who else could do this besides me. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
genuinely feel like this was my purpose. So that kept me going. And honestly, I do feel in some sort of way that I'm in a very unique position. I don't have children, so I
Mm-hmm.
don't have to come home and then have another job.
Right.
So when I was done with everything, which felt like it was never ending, I'm a very big extrovert, but I also need time to reset.
Mm-hmm.
So every single day, there would be probably like 2 to 3 hours, I'm not kidding you, where I would just be in silence. There's nothing going on,
Mm-hmm.
like no TV, no music, no podcast, nothing. I'm in silence. And it
Mm-hmm.
just helped honestly regulate and come back. And the only thing that I was like, I just have to keep doing this. And I knew that this wasn't forever,
Yeah.
that it would change,
Yeah.
that I would have a bigger team, I would hire more people. And I just kept telling myself, I was like, this isn't forever. It's not, you're not going to be this tired forever.
Mm-hmm.
And it will just keep going
Yeah.
day at a time.
And I feel like there's this whole rhetoric going all around the internet of just be delusional, just be delusional. I feel like there is a sense of like delusion, but it's also what you said. It's like there is no one else that can do this the way I'm doing it. And that's
hmm
not delusion. And I want to make that very clear of having a purpose, setting intention and following that and feeling guided by your purpose is extremely different than delusion because I feel like as soon as you call it delusion, that's when you start experiencing an imposter syndrome, which then is my next question to you of was that ever something that you faced or grappled with of I built this business, I've never run a business, I've only worked for other businesses, I don't really know what I'm doing this all alone, what if these workouts aren't great? Like what was going through your mind as you're building this studio and you're having your first few classes?
Yeah, first off, I love that of it's not delusion. It's totally not delusion. It is total belief in self and knowing your purpose. You're right, it's not delusion. It's
Mm-hmm.
totally different. And then in the same vein with imposter syndrome, I mean, listen, I am a year and a half in and I am still like, how did I do this?
Mm-hmm.
How did I do this? And there's a part of me that's like, you're not good at this. But then I just have to keep thinking, I'm like, look what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the numbers, look at the classes, look at what people are saying. And there's this fine line of being proud of what you've built versus being egoic about it. And for the longest time, I didn't feel proud because I was like, and I still am, in this position of like, I have so much more to go. There's so much more that I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard to be super proud. But then in the same vein, I was like, I also can't be proud because then that means I'm going to take my foot off the gas and then something's going to slip and I'm going to miss something.
Mm-hmm.
So I've never really let myself get there. But then I also have come to realize that it's not that I'm not proud because what I've built is freaking killer and I love it and the community is amazing and just I just feel so blessed. It's more so gratitude. I just
Mm-hmm.
feel so grateful that people believe in what I believe in, which
Mm-hmm.
is doing things a little differently. We are Pilates, but make it spicy, make it hard, and make it strong. And we are led by community.
Mm-hmm.
And knowing that that's what I wanted to build, and other people still see what I see, it's, I don't know, just a sense of gratitude every single day that even though it is hard as hell and I still have multiple days a week that I'm working 16-hour days, it's just like to back to what you said and I said of like there's no one else that can do this. So
Mm-hmm.
I just have to.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's truly amazing and inspiring to see you talk about it. And as you have gone through your journey of business growth and business development, obviously there's obstacles and challenges that come along the way that make you be like, is all this gratitude worth it? Like,
Totally.
is what I'm doing actually worth it? Are the 16-hour days worth it? Especially when it's at the expense of your mental health and your physical health. Like what you said, you are a role model to the rest of your studio. And if you start falling out of line, like, you got to keep yourself in these thin margins.
Yeah, 100%. There actually was a time where I was like, is this worth it? And to be totally honest, I was like, I don't know. I don't know that it's worth it because for the first 90 days, every single day something went wrong. Not just like now little where like, oh, we messed up on this or this. Something like significant happened and I was like, why did I do this? This is how am I going to survive? My mental health was taxed. I was like so run down, so physically run down every single day. I would hit the pillow and it's that old cliche saying of like you're so tired that you can't sleep.
Mm-hmm.
I was so tired. My body was just like it was crazy. I felt like a shell of a person. And there were very few things that kept me going. One, so my dad owns a pretty big company and he sold it. And so anytime that I have like a really big business decision, I go to him, I ask him for advice. And he was kind of my North Star. I think he got pretty, to be honest, like pissed off by the end. He was like, get it together. Like, what is your deal? And I just was like, I don't know, I can't control my emotions because I was just so freaking exhausted.
Yeah.
But anytime that I was like, okay, how do I do this? How do I do that? Because when you're in it, the day to day like grind, there's even small things that you just can't see clearly, and
Mm-hmm.
you need someone else to be like, to shake you and be like, stop, like this isn't a
Mm-hmm.
big deal. And he was that for me, being someone who is a small business, getting advice from this business that's way bigger than I have. And it just having that perspective of like, listen, this, what you are stressed out about now, yeah, it matters,
Mm-hmm.
but it really doesn't matter in this moment because you can take a second and at the end of the day, it's Pilates.
Right.
I am not a surgeon. We are not saving lives. It is not a life or death. So if I take an extra hour to do something,
Mm-hmm.
that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
It took me a long time to get there because I am such a doer. And the second that I have something to do, I'm like, I got to check this off. I got to keep going. I got to keep rolling. So having someone, I'm not married, so I don't have like a husband or a boyfriend to go to and chat about this, but having my dad be like, listen, it's okay. You're going to be fine.
Mm-hmm.
Even though in the moment it was like, I'm shutting the studio, I'm burning it down, I don't care anymore. Like this is a disaster. It truly was. And it, your question of like, um, how do I keep my mental sanity and my physical stamina? I didn't, to be
Mm,
honest. And I was like just a roller coaster of a person. But knowing that there was a part of me that was like, okay, at the end of the day, Chelsea, you chose this.
mm-hmm,
No one made you do it. You chose it. And why did you choose this?
mm,
And once I was like, had a very firm why, it really, really makes everything easier and it will actually be your saving grace. And I know a lot of people are like, well, you did it. You want to be a business owner because you want to make a lot of money. Even if you are making a lot of money, that will never get you up in the morning.
mm-hmm.
That will never be your driver. If money is the reason you started something, you are not going to succeed. Like
Right.
it has to be far bigger than that.
Right, because people are going to see through that, especially people in the
Yeah,
fitness community, which are very authentic. And it's not like they are doing all of these procedures to make themselves skinnier. Like they are doing these workouts so that they are healthy. It's not just for like optics. They are doing things
totally.
to be genuine, to be authentic, to be healthy. So if you're only doing something for money, that's going to be easily recognized. No one's going to go to that studio.
100%. And you're just going to fall in this other category of another studio where you're just shuffled in. It's like people don't want that. To your point, like they can see that, they can feel that. There it's that you can throw a rock and hit a fitness studio anywhere
Mm-hmm.
basically in the US right now. And if you are just solely there because you're trying to make a buck, then good luck because
Mm-hmm.
it's not going to work.
Yeah. And then that brings me to the importance of small studios and community based studios. Because
Mhm.
obviously, like, you'll see people on Forbes magazine of, oh, Peloton CEO has just become a billionaire or whatever, whatever. And these huge corporations that are soaking up all of these gyms, like 24-hour fitness or so on and so forth. Like, and they're just all of these giant conglomerates. But that isn't necessarily the goal of every small studio business. And what is that like? Because it's not like your end goal is to make this a giant corporate entity with millions of studios everywhere, or is it?
Great question. So when I opened, my goal was never to just be a one studio
Mm-hmm.
or like space. I've always wanted to have multiple locations. I've always wanted to grow and expand and get as big as I possibly can.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, to make money for sure, for sure, for
Mm-hmm.
sure. But it's also because, and I just keep coming back to it, I want to do things differently. I have been in a big corporate fitness role and I see how little people actually matter to that company. And
Mm,
I know it sounds terrible, but once you get to a certain size, all of your members eventually just become a number
mm,
and they feel it. And it sucks because the workout could be great, the facility could be great, but you're no longer a part of something that's big.
mm-hmm.
And if I, as this one woman show, can figure out, at least like in my realm, in my region, like create a studio that is more than just one location
Mm-hmm.
to be still very community based because at the end of the day, my studio is nothing without the community. We are
Mm-hmm.
nothing. We will not have classes. I wouldn't have coaches. Like none of it would matter.
Mm-hmm.
So, as long as we, not just me, but my entire team can really keep that in perspective of it is about the clients and the community first,
Mm-hmm.
then I think size matters only to an extent as long as your entire team is bought in of yes, we need to make money. Yes, we're a
Mm-hmm.
business. And we need to make sure that everything we do is customer and community driven because I don't want my space to just be another company that's bought out by a hedge fund and just part of another business because it
Right.
doesn't feel good. And I am such a proponent of feeling good in your
Mm-hmm.
workspace, in your workout. So it's this really fine line of like, yeah, I want to have more than I'm not gonna lie, I'm like shooting for the moon. I want to see how many studios
Yeah.
I can get. I'm not gonna put a cap on it, but I
Yeah.
also am like, I also don't want the community feel to ever dissolve. And if
Mm-hmm.
for a second I feel like that's happened, then one, I've either not done my job, or two, I need to really think about the growth and how do
Mm-hmm.
I slow that down.
Yeah. And so as you've built out this studio, and you said that you started with 3 instructors and now you've a larger team, how have you come to accept the idea that you're not going to be teaching every class? You're not there to be present in every single class. You have to trust other people to take care of your baby.
Let me tell you. I think that's the hardest thing. That's been the hardest thing for
Mm-hmm.
me is trust and letting go of control because it's not a franchise. I didn't just buy something and open it. I built this.
Mm-hmm.
Like I built hand stone by stone, brick by brick, whatever. So to release control and fully trust that someone else is going to execute my vision the way that I do is hard.
Mm-hmm.
But then in the same vein, I also have to know that if they don't, it's because it's my fault. I am
Mm-hmm.
the one that's training them. So as long as I am doing my job and training my coaches and my team to execute properly, then everything's going to be fine. Yes, no one will care the way that I care because it's mine.
Mm-hmm.
That is just how it is. But my team cares a lot. And they
Mm-hmm.
care a lot because they see how much I care and I invest into them.
Mm-hmm.
I put my heart and soul into them and they do just as much. Am I perfect in releasing control? Absolutely not. Do I still have trust issues? Absolutely. But I also know that one, my teaching style, yes, is it permeates throughout everyone, but everyone still is nuanced. And there's going to be times where people like someone else more than they like me.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, that's never been an issue. And I'm like, that's okay. That part I'm okay with, totally. But what it took me forever to be okay with is not being at the studio the entire day because then I was like, okay, I can control the vibe, I can control the energy. But then
Mm-hmm.
there came a point where I was like, okay, Chelsea, if you want to grow, you can't be there all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Two, if you are there all the time, then why the F did you hire other people? Like, what is the point? What is the point?
Yeah.
And so I just took a really hard look and I was like, you train them.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't want them to do something, then you do something different.
Mm-hmm.
And you just have, I just really have to lean into trusting that what I've taught them, they're going to do, and trust that they are capable. And knock on wood, it's worked out.
Yeah, that's awesome. And
Yeah.
obviously, as you're continuing to change your role of becoming more of a business owner and less hands-on in the studio, what does that role look like? Because obviously, you've started the studio, you were teaching the classes, you've now taught the instructors, and now you're lending into more of what appears to me as just, yeah, like a business owner. Like, I own this business, here's how it's going to be run, here's how we're going to optimize things, here's how we're going to grow.
Yeah. It's interesting because for the first like 12 months of the business, I did everything.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't until like month 13 where I hired someone to do all the operations. And it took me a good like 4 to 6 weeks to one, trust that, but
Mm-hmm.
two, feel okay with not doing everything. And it's honestly, it's an adjustment when you come from a place of doing everything to then releasing a little bit of it.
Mm-hmm.
There almost comes this guilt where you're like, but I should be doing everything. I
Mm-hmm.
should be processing every little detail. And then you get to this space where you're like, no, actually, as the leader, as the business owner, my best use of time is creating the strategy and leading. So that means that I'm going to do less task work
Mm-hmm.
and more strategy,
Mm-hmm.
which to some people would be like, you're not doing anything. And it's like, actually, because
That's
right,
hard
you don't have
work.
this, yeah, you don't have a checklist of like, okay, answer this, do this,
Mm-hmm.
respond to this. It looks so different
Mm-hmm.
and it's very uncomfortable at the beginning. It's
Yeah.
very uncomfortable to be like, I am not going to be the one responding to every single email. In fact, I'm going to be the one that sits a little quieter because I have to observe and look around, see
Mm-hmm.
the trends, see the trajectory, find the strategy. How does this look? Where does Haven go in the next year, the next 5 years? What does Studio 2 look like? What does
Mm-hmm.
hiring more people look like? So it becomes less task oriented and more big picture.
Mm.
And it's a very hard mental space to jump into, and it
Mm-hmm.
takes some adjustment, and then you have to get very comfortable with being in a leader and a strategy role instead of
Mm-hmm.
like the execution.
Yeah. And I've talked to a lot of different women that have started their small businesses and have been following a lot of people on social media and whatnot. And the biggest thing that I've seen is what you're describing of that task orientation of I need to do all of these things and I need to assign these tasks to myself so I feel like something is getting done. So for
Yeah.
example, you have to pick your font for your branding and you
Mhm.
decide that that's going to take 4 hours. And so you're doing things, but it's kind of almost in a self-sabotaging way, which I think is what you were almost describing earlier in the sense of I was running myself ragged, I wasn't getting any sleep, I was doing all of these things, when in reality your dad is like, "Hey girl, let's slow it down, let's pump the brakes, let's do a reality check here, it's just Pilates," because
Yes.
you lose sight of that why of what you were talking about of this is why I'm doing it. It's not because of the font, it's not because of the branding. Like obviously you have marketing experience, but that goes way beyond what Pilates is. And yeah, you can incorporate marketing into it, but the root of what you want to do is Pilates.
100%. And listen, like, I could be the best marketer in the face of the planet, but if someone comes to the studio and has a terrible experience, doesn't matter.
Mm,
It is about, at the end of the day, yeah, you want to have a good social media presence. Yeah, you want to have good marketing. You want to do whatever, but it's about, especially in fitness, it is about what you are offering
mm,
and how it feels. Because there are so, like I said, so many studios, and it's it's so much more about creating an experience,
mm-hmm,
and that comes with having the right people in the right place and the right people in the right seats, and then being the leader, understanding that, and then leading by example. It's like you said, and to whomever you chatted with, it's so true of like, you just feel like you need to create this long list of things to not only keep yourself busy, but to almost in a weird way justify your role.
mm-hmm.
It's very strange. You like want to make your whole day packed, because if you don't have a giantly and huge task list, it's like, wait, I've got to be missing something, or I'm not doing something, or I don't deserve to be in this seat. It's strange, and I don't know where, as like women or a society, we got to be so
Harsh.
driven by checking things off of
Yeah.
a list. But it's so not that. That isn't
Mm-hmm.
it.
Yeah, 100%. And obviously, while you're checking all these items off your list and you're about to launch, there's things that come up, you're freaking out, you're overexerting yourself, and then the launch day happens, and you're like, okay, brick and mortar's open. Like, what is that feeling? Because you had a waiting list, there's people coming in, you're like, oh my gosh, what's going on?
It was madness. I actually remember the first week, like it was yesterday, and I
Mm,
remember leaving every class that I taught just in a whirlwind where I was like, there's no way this is happening, but I
mm,
couldn't even like appreciate it because I everything was breaking. It was the ultimate stress test. It was like our HVAC wasn't working, our studio wasn't getting hot, our humidity wasn't every single thing that could go wrong went wrong. And instead of being like, this is just a part of it, I'm learning, this is right off the bat, I couldn't even enjoy it. And
mm-hmm,
then my dad said something actually really profound. It was like about I don't know, 45 days in where I was like, I still can't get this right. Like, why is this not working?
Mm-hmm.
He was like, listen, I understand that it's frustrating and that you're losing your mind, but at the same time, if you were to have opened and launched perfectly, what is there to grow into?
Mm.
And
Yep.
I was like, you are so right. He was like, because now you can grow and you can learn and you can add these little things. And he's like, and that's just another carrot to drop to be like, we fixed this, come back, try this out. We
Mm.
did this, come back, try this out. He's like, if you launched and everything was 10 out of 10, he's like, what's that?
Yeah.
What is that? There's nowhere to go from there. He was like,
Mm-hmm.
it's at least you opened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I feel like there's so much stress of making everything perfect and making
Mhm.
sure the experience is amazing. And you're getting 5 stars reviews every single time, and everyone coming in is going and telling 5 of their friends about it, which
Uh-huh.
then creates all of this unneeded stress of all of the existing stress that's in there because you can't know what's going on inside of these people's heads. And so as they're coming back and as they are coming to the studio when things are breaking, what's going through your mind then of like, oh my God, what are these girls thinking? Do they think that this is a total flop? Did they waste their time?
Yeah. I mean, I definitely thought that for sure. I was like, oh my gosh, no one's coming back. I'm
Mm,
failing. No one's coming back. But I had this like little spark or voice inside of my head of that whole saying of like, if you build it, they will come.
mm-hmm,
So I was like, you just have to keep showing up day in and day out. You, at the end of the day, I believe so much in what I've built as far as a workout, where I was like, people will understand. It might
mm-hmm,
take them time, but people will understand and they will get it and they will be here. And yes, of course, especially for the first year, I cared so much that everyone saw and believed what I was doing was like the best of the best. But
mm-hmm,
now I think because I believe so much that I care less about the feedback and more just about people having a great experience.
mm-hmm,
Now, that does come in the same vein of I am such a person of feedback. I want to
mm-hmm,
know what you liked, what you didn't like, what I could do better. I want to know that because I don't ever want to plateau. And like I said, I am nothing without my members and my clients.
mm-hmm,
So if there's something where they're like, oh, I liked this, or I like when we do this, or this didn't feel good, I want to hear that. I want to
mm-hmm.
get better. I want my coaches to get better. So, as much fear as we have around the idea of feedback, I think it is so paramount and like the ultimate thing and tester and gauge of where you are in your business. I always ask for it every single day, every time I teach. I want to see like what can I do better? I don't
Mm-hmm.
ever want to be baseline.
Yeah. And I feel like so many people are like, oh, yeah, I'm open to feedback. I love feedback. And then when they get feedback, they're like, mm.
Yeah, for sure. Hmm.
And how do you make an environment? Because for me, like if I go to a nail salon and they're like, do you like your nails? And I absolutely hate it, I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying anything. How do you then create an environment where you've allowed these women to be like, oh, yeah, I can totally tell her that I hated this part. Like I hated 10 minutes of this workout.
Yeah. No, yes, no questions. So always ask, what did you like about the class?
Mm-hmm.
Or how did it feel? Where did what did you like the best about the class?
Mm-hmm.
Did you like this? And I always ask for suggestions of like, hey, what do you want to do next class? What feels good in your body? Do
Mm-hmm.
you like when we do this? How does this feel? So, getting really specific with your questions, but then people, it's such an energy exchange. People understand and can feel when you are acceptive and receptive of feedback,
Mm-hmm.
especially when you're going out of your way to ask for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And with feedback, obviously there's good feedback and there's bad feedback, but the good feedback is probably what has been able to keep you going. So what are the things that have made your entire journey worth it in terms of either feedback from your clients or just overall energy that you'd felt or just the idea of continued growth?
Yeah. Several things. I love when clients tell me how they've never felt seen or welcomed at a space, but the
Mm.
second that they came to Haven, it shifted for them.
Oh.
I love when people say, I have never found a place that I actually wanted to stick to a workout and then they've been a member for a year.
Oh.
It's insane. Or someone who's like, "Oh my gosh, when I walk up the steps and when I pick up my kids, I actually feel strong and I don't feel out of breath."
Mm-hmm.
To just see these things that it's I know I said, I don't know how many minutes ago, but that we're not saving lives. Yeah, we might not be saving lives, but we're changing them.
Mm-hmm.
And that is amazing to see someone come into a space and go out of their way to tell you, I met my best friend here and now we hang out
Oh.
all the time.
Yeah.
Or I never had a community before, or I was scared to come to Pilates. It's so amazing to see that what I knew to be true, which was Pilates does not need to be exclusive.
Mm-hmm.
Fitness is for everyone, and you can create a space that is profitable and that's thriving and yet still has the client at its forefront.
Mm-hmm.
And to see all of that actually coming to fruition is like the reason I keep going.
Yeah. And I know that you've spent a good deal of time working as a fitness instructor for larger studios or for more of corporate conglomerates. But what do you feel like has been that major stark contrast? And I know that you had mentioned earlier of the person or the client ends up becoming just a number at some point. But what does that really feel like? Like when you say that, and people that might have a 24-hour fitness membership, like myself, that are like, okay, well, what's the difference of being a number and being like actually a person that goes to a studio?
Gosh, I think the biggest thing right off the bat is when you walk into Haven, you are greeted by name. It's
Mm,
not just come into the studio. We have front desk staff standing in front of the desk, checking you in by your name because we know your name. It's not
mm-hmm,
you don't punch in and clock yourself in or check yourself in or whatever. No.
mm-hmm,
We have people that are there, they're welcoming you, they're greeting you. In every single class, it is not just standard, but an expectation that our coaches engage one on one with the clients. We call you out by name, not in an annoying way that's like, oh my gosh, can you shut up? You've said my name 20 times.
yeah,
But in a very intentional way of like, I see you.
mm-hmm,
I see that you are here. You took time. You spent 45 minutes of your day here. And I am so grateful. And I exude that my coaches are like, I too am so grateful. And
mm-hmm,
it's just this continuous spill out of gratitude, and it's a total feeling. You don't go into a space where you're like, I could be here right now and no one have any idea. You don't get lost in the crowd. Our class sizes, so we only have a maximum of 18 people. In my next studio, I will never have a class bigger than 25 people
mm-hmm,
because the second that it's bigger than that, you get lost in the crowd and
yeah,
you're just a number and you're just a body to fill a space.
mm-hmm,
And we want it to be very intentional so that the coach can actually coach and actually speak to each person individually. So it's about keeping it intimate, it's about keeping it small, and it's about actually engaging, knowing their name, creating that one on one connection, and not just getting lost in the shuffle.
mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. And I completely love that. I literally love when you would get on or go to a class and they would call you out and say, oh, it's this girl's birthday or happy birthday or this is her 100th class. Like that, I love that. And that is
Oh,
such a
yeah.
amazing thing that everybody feels seen, everyone feels happy. Even if you're not the person being called out, you're like, hell yeah, this girl has been here for 100 times. Like,
Huh?
yeah. Like it's a
Yeah,
contagious
happy
feeling.
birthday, girl.
Yeah, 100%, a hundred
Hmm.
percent. And so obviously there's been a transition from when you left that corporate world and then, or I guess not corporate, but left that world of huge corporate business or huge corporate gym and moved into your own gym. What was the tipping point of like, I just can't do this anymore?
Tipping point was I was just ready, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
There wasn't like one specific thing, like no one pissed me off or I didn't
Mm-hmm.
see something that I was just like, I want to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I'm single. I don't have kids. I don't have that quote unquote responsibility. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, if I don't do it now, I will never do it.
Yeah.
So I just closed my eyes and signed the lease.
Yep. I love
Yeah.
that. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I'd love for you to share where people can find you, how they can reach out to you, how they can sign up for your classes. So if you'd please share, I'd love that.
Yes, so it's Haven Hot Pilates without the E, so it's HAVN Hot Pilates. We're currently in Greenwood Village and we're on our way to opening a second location, which is
Ooh.
super exciting. So be on the lookout for that. So we're in Greenwood Village, Colorado. You can find us havenhotpilates.com or Haven Hot Pilates on Instagram.
Perfect. Well, Chelsea, thank you so much. And I hope that you have so many people coming to your classes this week. And a really just amazing story to hear you talk about fitness because I feel like Pilates is really hot right now. And a
Yeah.
lot of women can stand to benefit from going, building muscle, making friends, building community. It sounds like all of the great things that everyone wants.
Yes, 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 yes. Thank you so much, Sarah.
Of course. Well, have a great rest of your day. And I will let you know when the podcast is going to air.
Thank you.
Of course. Bye, Chelsea.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Consider the Source podcast. If you're not already, please make sure to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts, and make sure to check us out on YouTube because the videos do get posted there every Wednesday. And then if you haven't already, make sure you leave a comment. Make sure you leave a 5-star review. Make sure that you're following me on social media at Sarah Smiles Network everywhere. And I hope you have a great rest of your day, and make sure to tune in next week for another episode of the Consider the Source podcast. Bye.